Good morning. So I went out this morning to see the sunrise. It was a bit cloudy actually, and I saw a little bit of the sun. And amazing thing happened, which is this connection between the animal kingdom and us, and this connection between the codes of the matrix of life and our inner world, so our outer world nature, and us, our inner world, our inner nature. Because as I was out walking in the meadows, there's often birds around, and seagulls came around, and they do this a lot in the mornings. You know, they make this kind of whirling sound, and they do this kind of anyway, they're whirling around, and as I sort of bow my supplication to the sun, and then I start to walk home, I notice that this seagull is following me. I'm looking up, and it's following me along the road. And I'm like, why is it doing this? It's actually following me. You know, I mean, I'm the only one awake in the village, so it's following me the whole way. And then I get to this outside there's a pub, an inn, and outside the pub there's this car park, quite a big, wide open space. So I go into the middle of that space, and I stand there, and this gull starts swirling around. It's doing this, and then it starts to dive towards me. And then it goes down, and it comes at me, and I feel that exhilaration of, and I'm standing there, and the bird is rising and falling, and I'm turning as it turns in the sky. So I'm rotating to follow it and track it, and it goes up, and it comes back, and it comes around, and then it dives at me again. And every time it dives at me, you hear that kind of whoosh of the wind through its feathers, that whoosh, you know. And the sounds at that time in the morning are amplified, incredible. It's just me and this gull in this dance for 15 minutes, just me, just in this rapture. And I know that the seagull is the 39th gene key, you know, and it's the vision of liberation, you know, the great seabird that just soars the skies with its kind of penetrating kind of wings that cut through the sky and pick up and ride the thermals over the sea, the great oceans of life. And you know, I just note that connection between the outer and the inner, and the power of a symbol when we allow it to move deep inside us. You know, the bird that brings liberation, the bird that inner skies. And the cry of the gull is the rapture of liberation, you know, of being able to cut oneself free of this maya, of this illusion, and soar into the skies of existence, of consciousness. And it's interesting that the sounds that creatures make, because right now I hear all these birds outside, I don't know if you can hear them, but often the sounds creatures make, we allow them to irritate us. You know, they're not, you know, and I could easily have been like, look, it's a really nice quiet dawn, you can just shut up. But no, you know, you've got to let it in. You let that sound in, and then you let it kind of percolate and penetrate you. And then instead of being a sound that might irritate you, it actually becomes a sound that liberates you, that even gives you a rush, or a feeling of awe, or a moment of transport. And that can be the same with anything, you know, with any sound, any creature particularly, because they're communicating with us from inside us, because they are a programming chip within the matrix of the illusion in which we live. You know, they're a piece of code. That's what they are. And we're a piece of code. And they're a piece of code within a piece of code. And so there's a great dance in there to enjoy the playfulness of the Tao, of the unfurling of our evolution, of our story, of our mythology, of our dream arc, as we move and live and have our being in this world. So a story to get you started today.